Howdy fellas, I'm here to talk about the Casio AE1200WH-1BV. I forgot to write the WH here, Jesus. You would think that I put no effort into these videos or something, oh my. This is a very famous watch, guys. This is the Casio Royale is what it's called, and it's called the Casio Royale because Seiko, back in the day, made a watch for one of the James Bond movies. If I prepared for these videos, I would know which James Bond movie it was, but I didn't, and I just know it has something to do with a James Bond movie. I'll pop it up here on the screen.
Perfect image, Q. Really 007.
As with, most watch brands, for some reason, when they have a popular watch, they just eventually stop making it. And Casio is the only brand, I guess, smart enough to say, hey, you know what? If Seiko's not going to do it, we should. And so they started making this watch, which is similar in a lot of ways and also different in a lot of ways from that original Seiko. And yeah, oh man, I had a Dragon's Milk beer before this video started here, and I just checked it because I was starting to feel it kick in, and it's 11% alcohol by volume, 11% ABV, and I was a little surprised by that, and I'm definitely starting to feel it, and I just completely lost my train of thought because of it. So let's talk about size. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face by Dragon's Milk, am I right? Case size of this very, very popular, very, very famous watch. I'd say this is one of the most popular Casios you can buy. People love this watch. I don't think Casio will ever stop making this. Maybe that's what I was gonna get on as far as a tangent goes before the Dragon's Milk really took effect. And that is that Casio is smart. If people like a watch that they make, they don't stop making it. They don't upgrade it. They don't say, you know what, I'm glad you like that watch, but also fuck you. We're gonna make it our way. We're gonna change it. I've always thought this about anything, whether it's, I don't actually have any social media whatsoever, which is why I never tell you guys to follow me on social media, but like websites, Facebook, whatever, operating systems on a smartphone. Every year they have to change. They have to, just stop changing it. Everyone's completely fine with things the way they are. Stop mucking with it. Leave it as it is. We just learned how to use it. We get comfortable with things and companies change them. I find that very, very annoying and a little bit rude, honestly. Casio doesn't do that. This watch has been the same since like the 90s, The Casio F91W has been absolutely the same since 1991. I mean, I honestly don't think they've changed a goddamn thing. They didn't even change the backlight. The backlight is terrible on it. And they're like, yeah, that's the way it is. What? So you can't argue with that. I mean, the prices for these Casio watches are amazing. Casio doesn't mess with them. The more I think about it, I think Casio might be the most customer-friendly watch brand in the world. Okay, I'm rambling now. I know I'm rambling. You don't have to tell me. I understand. Case size, guys. Whoosh. Let's see what the size queen has to say. 39.68 millimeters. I measured from right in here in this little nook to right over here in this little nook. As you guys can see, there's just a little, between the two nipples here, there's a little hollow space, and I measured from there to there. Casio gives a different measurement. I would imagine they must be measuring from where the black ends to where the black ends, but to me, this is where the case really is, in that little nook. So 39.68 millimeters. The height of this watch, give you guys an idea of the thickness here, 12.86 millimeters. The lug width, 17.97 millimeters. You guys can see, as always with a Casio, it flares out. It flares out beautifully and really meets that case. So it's 18 millimeters here, but really effectively it's something like 22 millimeters the whole way across. I didn't measure that, I'm just eyeballing it. But from here to here, you never get a sense that it's just an 18 millimeter tiny little baby strap. It feels big and robust, and it kind of goes with the case, which I really, really like. I think most watch brands would benefit from flaring their straps, but no one does it except for Casio. I guess Zinn does it as well. Don't tell me other companies that do it. I know other companies do it, but the ones that do it all the time are Casio. Lug to lug on this, 45.05 millimeters from here to here. And the water resistance is 100 meters. Now, I'm going to give a dissenting opinion on this watch. To me, I look at this watch, I love everything about it. If I were going to keep this watch long term, I would get rid of World Time and Illuminator. I would take some rubbing alcohol or WD-40 or something, and I would just rub that until the paint came off on Illuminator and World Time. But other than that, I just think it's a beautiful, perfect little watch until you get it on your wrist. And I know I'm always the one that's saying size doesn't matter, size doesn't matter. And I agree. If you don't think this is a big watch or ungainly, then wear it. It's really perfect, except for the fact that when I put it on my wrist, and I'll show you guys what it looks like here, it just looks, it looks like a big brick. It's weird though, because this is one of my favorite watches. I've talked about this before. This is my Aqualand, my Citizen Aqualand JP2000-08E, if I remember correctly. And in every single dimension, this watch is bigger than the Casio Royale. Lug to lug, case size, thickness, whatever. But when I have this on my wrist, it doesn't feel or look bigger to me. It feels correct. It feels right. This, when I have this on my wrist, it just feels like the biggest, literally like a brick, like a cinder block, a black cinder block on my wrist. And I was looking at it, trying to figure out why is that? And I really just think there's a lot of empty space around here. I wish, so there's this black ring around here, this black bezel. I wish that was gone, and I wish we could remove that space in every direction, lug to lug and case width. Just get rid of that, condense it, tighten it all up, get rid of the empty space, and I think this watch would look and feel a lot better. Also, maybe get rid of some of that thickness. But this is the way it is. This hasn't changed in a long time, and I realize I am the only one in the world that has a dissenting opinion on this watch. Really, because it is fantastic. I wish I loved it. I wish I looked at it on my wrist and said, yeah, that looks perfect. But I just don't, and so I really don't ever wear it. Anyway, I know I'm rambling, so I'll talk a little bit about things that I planned on talking about. This watch cost me $31.99 on Amazon. The traditional black one, this comes in a lot of different colors. There's like a green one. I think there's one with like a gold-colored bronzy bezel. The traditional black one. This one, as far as I know, is the only one with a green map. This one, $39.99. The traditional black one, $19.99. So you guys can have a really fantastic watch for, I mean, next to nothing. I don't know what minimum wage is in whatever state or country you live in. Here in California, I think it's $15 or something. So, you know, take into account taxes, whatever else gets taken out of your paycheck. 2 hours of work is all it really needs, all you really need to buy a watch of this caliber. And I mean, this watch has a lot going for it. There's a 10-year battery, there's a countdown timer, a chronograph, 5 daily alarms, a perpetual calendar plus daylight savings time. The backlight is fantastic. I'll show you what that backlight looks like here in a second. The circular display up here, that shows your home time. It shows the running seconds. So even if you're in another time zone, like say you're traveling, and you say, I want to know what time it is in China while I'm staying in China. Okay, well, you just, you know, move over the time zone on this display to China. But up here, in this circular display, it always shows your home time. For me, it would always show Los Angeles time, which is kind of fun. I don't know. It's just charming as hell, guys. And $19.99 for the black version, $31.99 for this version. You can't beat it, really. I wish I loved it. I don't know why I don't love it, but I don't. And one thing about this watch, whenever I got it, I remember thinking, wow, like this must be one of the Casios that's made in Japan because the quality is so amazing. Like pushing the pushers, everything just feels so solid. The resin glass that's over the display, that crystal, It's made of resin according to the Casio website, but I found other people saying that it's a mineral glass of some sort, so whatever, it doesn't matter. Whoever is correct is correct. But it's so clear, it just looks quality, you know? But on the back it says made in China, so maybe I should stop being a racist and start believing that people who manufacture things in China are actually capable of something great, because this watch truly is great. I just don't want to wear it. Now, like I said, the black version is $19.99. This one, I was willing to pay that extra 12 bucks or whatever for that green map, because when I see the green map, it makes me feel hopeful for the world. I feel like, okay, like we live on a lush, beautiful planet. Whereas when I look at the other ones with a gray map, it just makes me feel like, oh, that's what it's going to look like after we have a full-blown nuclear war in a year or two. It's a great watch, guys. I can't recommend it enough, and yet this is going to be one of those weird times where, for me, this just doesn't do it. So I will say this, too. As far as all the watches I'm showing on my channel, with the exception of the Cartier that my girlfriend bought me for my 40th birthday, if you guys want any of these watches, just let me know, because I don't have a ton of money to spend on watches. And so the way that I can kind of justify this is, well, maybe if somebody wants the one that I'm talking about, I'll send it to you, I'll sell it to you, whatever. And then that'll give me a little bit of money to put towards the next videos. So we can do that way. I know other guys have Patreon pages and all that shit, but I don't know. That all seems like such a hassle. So if you want this watch, let me know. I'll sell it to you, of course, for a fair price. And that way I'll have a little money for any future videos. But okay, guys, you take it easy. Have a good week. And I'll talk to you later. Adios.
Look, I haven't time for these adolescent antics.